get into some of these games real quick. Big game that we covered this past weekend was between Brother Rice and Loyola. We actually just had the quarterback CJ Gray from Brother Rice on. Let's check out that interview with him for a little bit. CJ, how you feeling? Thank you for joining the platform.
I'm feeling good. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hey, Brother Rice is off to a hot start, man. Y'all 4-0 start since the 2018 season. Also, y'all just came off a big victory against Loyola Academy. Last time y'all beat Loyola was also that same season in 2018. How does that victory feel, to beat Loyola at home this past Friday?
Oh, it felt great. We put in a lot of work in off season, through the season. We had the utmost confidence in ourselves, and we just went out and did what we were supposed to do.
Yeah, y'all definitely did what y'all supposed to do. I already predicted that y'all was gonna win that game because I seen my first game I seen y'all play this season was against Marist, and I would honestly say I was completely shocked on how poised y'all was. Y'all defense for one was the thing that I noticed the most or initially, that defensive line presence. And then also another thing that I noticed is that the activity on offense was insane. I think y'all put up 35 points that game, and it was just you was picking and choosing from throwing the ball. You used your legs a lot, and coming into that Loyola game, I expected nothing different. So yeah,
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
and then for me, I'm not gonna lie. Like for Brother Rice, we was hearing a lot about the defensive end of the ball. Like the defensive line is all we've been hearing through the summer. All of the 3, 4 star, 5 star guys on the defensive line, but really offensively, y'all got a ton of weapons, way more than I even knew about. And the Loyola game showed it. I mean, you got Jalen and Jovan Green, Lucas Strang, you of course, Darion Clinton, Jack McNamara. So you got weapons all over offensively and defensively. It's like, man, this Brother Rice team is balanced. It's a complete team. So is that something that y'all have worked towards? Like this group of guys, have y'all all been together and planned together for a certain amount of time, or has it just been put together recently?
Yeah, most of us have been together since freshman year. So it's been a long time of chemistry building. And then we have a few guys that's been added in as juniors playing with us now that are big pieces on our offense too. So I would say definitely something that's been in works for years already.
that's
Definitely.
cool. And I could definitely tell, like in that Loyola game, you had two rushing TDs and two passing TDs, and like I said, y'all look good on the offensive end, look good on the defensive end, and you can tell that there's chemistry between you and the guys on the team. Um, some things I want to talk about. First time I actually saw you play was last year against Fenwick in that loss in the first round of the playoffs, 12-7. And the first time I saw you play this year, as I mentioned, was against Marist. And I was talking to FA about it a couple episodes back. One of the things that I noticed was your development. Like from watching you play in that game against Fenwick, coming into the first game I saw you play this season against Marist, it was almost like night and day. I almost thought you was a different person, bro. Because for one, you was wearing 4 last year, and then your number this year is 2. But then also like just the decision making, and your arm strength was always there, but the decision making and everything, you just looked like a more polished player. That I was like, oh, this kid has tremendously developed, and he definitely put in the work in the off season. One thing I want to ask is, what was that work like in the off season when it came to your development coming into this season?
Um, in terms of work, it was just a lot of reps throwing the ball, but also like the mental part, studying and things like that. But in the weight room, also getting bigger, faster, stronger. I feel like we have one of the best strength coaches anywhere, and Coach Kano. So he really, I really
100%.
put in work in the off season with him, and then with my quarterback coach, Greg Holcomb from Next Level Athletics. We put in a lot of work, so it was just constant work because I felt like I didn't like the way that I finished last season. So putting in that work and having that in my mind.
Definitely, definitely. One thing I want to speak about is like your. I guess this is more short term development from last season to this season, but I kind of want to know about your development from, I guess, freshman year to now, the point that you're at now in your senior year, about to graduate and go to college. You were at Brother Rice. You've been at Brother Rice for all 4 years.
Yeah, all 4 years.
Okay, and then you started playing varsity as a junior, or were you on varsity? At what point did you get to the varsity level?
Yeah, my junior year.
Your junior year. Okay, so you came in at what? It was 2022 was your freshman year.
Yeah,
Or
20.
2022 around that time. So that's kind of where Brother Rice was kind of honestly like on a kind of a decline in the sense of a standard of Brother Rice going that year. I believe they won 7 games, and then the following year 5-5, knocked out of the first round. Then last year knocked out of the first round. So what has that meant to your development? Getting Brother Rice back to that championship standard and getting back to a state championship. What was that whole timeline like for you? And I guess the Brother Rice as a program getting back to that standard.
But within a program, I feel like we've always felt like we would be good, great, things like that. So as a freshman, just putting in work as a freshman, keeping my head down. Sophomore, doing the same thing. Try not to look too far ahead. Just worry about what my feet are. And then once I got up until that junior year, now everything that I put in, all the work from freshman to sophomore year, all that just contributed to now. So it's been over a 4 year process, not just starting this year or last year.
Yeah, definitely. I want to, mention a little bit more about this season and as far as like the team. As I mentioned earlier, y'all first round exit to Fenwick, but coming into this season, I also mentioned that y'all are starting 4-0 the first time since 2018. What feels different this season, as a team from a team perspective than last season's team?
I would say everybody's just really buying in. I feel like whether that's on starting all the way back from the off season, I feel like everybody's been buying in. We know what we have, but we know that I feel like last year everything that we went through, all the experience we had, made us a stronger team this season. Like we know that some of those talent that's not going to just get us through games. Like we have to do the right things, play the right way. So I feel like last year really helped us in terms of this year, in terms of experience and things that we know now. So I would say that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, and it's definitely noticeable. Like I always say, I'm gonna be on the Brother Rice wave the whole season. For one, my brothers went to Brother Rice. My two oldest brothers went to Brother Rice. But also, it's just like I've seen y'all play probably more than any team this year so far, and it's only been 4 weeks. But I see everything that you mentioned as far as the development and everything. You're seeing that translate onto the field. I'm noticing it. I'm sure other teams are noticing it now if they haven't noticed it already. Y'all had some, pretty good Catholic League matchups this season already. Marist, y'all won 35-0. Beat St. Rita the following week, and then just beat Loyola this past week. So y'all are on a roll, and a game that we really, really excited for y'all to see how y'all match up against Mount Carmel. That's gonna be a big game in a couple weeks, but obviously don't want to jump too far ahead as y'all do have a matchup next week as well. But yeah, y'all that development as far as like the work that y'all put in the off season, that's definitely noticeable. Like insanely noticeable for sure.
Thank
Definitely.
Yeah. My bad. If you want to say something.
No, you all good.
Yeah. One of the things I want to mention, you are an Army commit. I kind of want to go into your commitment decision and your recruitment of essentially what led you to choosing that school.
Yeah, so around the off season, kind of I got in contact with some of the coaches, and then it was like a consistent talking basis. And then they offered me, and I went out there around June, and I just loved the campus, the coaches, even some of the players that I talked to down there. It was a great atmosphere in terms of the guys that were there, the coaches, the facilities, the classrooms. It felt like something that I want to be a part of and put myself in. Uh, of course, they're good on. They had a great year last year and starting off great this year. But also outside of football, I feel like they stand for something great. So that was pretty much on both sides of and on the field and off the field. I feel like that was somewhere that I can thrive.
Most definitely. That's always important. You want to choose somewhere that's right for you. And you mentioned they do stand for something greater than outside of sports. So it's a good decision. Can't wait to see you, thrive at the next level for sure. And then essentially, taking it back to this season, still a lot more season left to go. Y'all are off to a 4-0 start, as I mentioned. Y'all got some big games coming up. But what are some goals that you may have for this season and even beyond?
Well, our one goal is a state championship. Of course, we want to get there. So
Absolutely.
win it just week by week. Every game, focus on an opponent that we have that week. putting in the same work, and treating every game the same. So that helped us get to our long-term goal, state championship.
Most definitely. I've said it many times, and I'm not gonna jinx it or anything, but I'm gonna just keep, rooting for y'all. But I honestly think y'all are the favorite to win in 7A. Like, I pay attention to the Associated Press's rankings every week in and week out, and 7A is one of those classes this year that just, I won't say wide open, but it's a big opportunity for any team to win it. And I think for me, currently y'all sitting at number 1 right now in the 7A Associated Press's rankings. I reckon it'll be the same this week when they come out on Wednesday. And man, y'all just got to keep rolling, man. Like you said, I'm pretty sure y'all got great coaching and everything going on. And as long as y'all stay focused, 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time, 1 play at a time, I can definitely see y'all making a very big run in the state playoffs this year, taking it all the way to a, state title game and state championship for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with what you're saying about that. And I won't it's no question for me. I think that after watching the way that y'all play Loyola and the talent that I personally discover on both sides of the ball, how efficient you guys are on both sides of the ball, the mistakes, it's not many mistakes, but there are mistakes. 7A is Brother Rice's to lose. Like, I haven't seen a team as talented, and I don't want to get too much into my Brother Rice take, but I'm gonna go as far as saying that the top 2 teams in the state of Illinois are going to play in 2 weeks, regardless of class. So I think Brother Rice is on that state championship level, and as far as talent, can compete with anybody in the state. And playing like you all have been playing, state championship, and the last time that you all played this way was the last time y'all been to state championship in 2018. So it's kind of replicating that season. You know what I mean? So yeah, I will be expecting Brother Rice to be appearing in the state finals this year.
Definitely. One thing I want to ask, I got a couple more questions. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but the defensive line is something that we mentioned, a lot throughout, a couple episodes. We mentioned it right now, having this conversation with you. What is it like going up against that defense in practice? Because obviously that probably makes the offense a lot better. The fact that y'all have an electric offense and a very good defense, the fact that y'all can make each other better week in and week out, every day of the week, leading up to a Friday Night Lights game. So what is that like, going up against that defense?
It's great to have to go against that in practice because essentially that's what the game is going to be just as tough. So for us to have to be going against that since the summer and keep getting in that work, I feel like that really pushed our offensive line, even our secondary, our receivers got better going against them, and I feel like we even sharpened the defense also. So I feel like that's great for us to have that and practice against that week in and week out because that gives us a great look and really always pushes us every day.
Yeah, most definitely. I bet. I mean, preparation is the best way to succeed. And when you got a defensive line like that, and also, vice versa, it goes both ways. Y'all got an electric offense, so y'all preparing them just as much as they preparing you. So that, that's just going to make y'all go farther. The fact that y'all have that competitive nature coming into practice every day of the week, comparing it, coming into a Friday Night Lights game, it's y'all can face off against anybody. And then one last thing I want to ask. This is more of a media question, but Shoot Like Mike. That man video work is crazy, bro. Like crazy. What is it like to have such a guy that can like pretty much get all the angles edited perfectly and then post it on social medias, whether it's of you, the team, or whatever? What does that feel like going week in and week out, just seeing a crazy highlight come from Shoot Like Mike?
Mike is crazy. Like I was talking to Mike, I don't understand how you can even be that good with the camera. So like it's great to see you're on the field, you're playing, but then it's like kind of cool. Like on the weekends, you're like waiting for Mike to post or Brother Rice's page to post, and you get to see myself or my teammates go out there making plays. So that it's great having Mike on our staff because it's great to see those videos because they're amazing.
Yeah, it's great for us to see it too, man. Like
Yeah.
I seriously look forward to seeing what video he put together for y'all every week, and that's not even just for football. That's for the other sports that he covered as well for Brother Rice. But yeah, man, Shoot Like Mike is crazy. Definitely
Yeah,
shout out to
bro.
him.
when that video popped up and I saw myself talking, I'm like, oh my God, bro, he put me on this video. Using me as ammo, bro.
I told you, bro. I told you. Like I called it out, bro. Like
Yeah, you did. You did, man.
yeah.
I'm a believer though. I'm a believer. And we always say that. That's what we love, man. It's never personal. We can have our opinions and our takes, but you go out there and you show it, and I can't do nothing but respect it and be honest and be objective about it. Like, man, what I saw against Loyola is like, bro, this is different. This is different, bro. So yeah, man, y'all boys keep balling, man. We can't wait not only to see the Mount Carmel game, but going further to the 7-8 playoffs. Like, it's gonna be a show. It's gonna be some more good teams. There's more good teams for y'all to play. And yeah, it's just taking a game at a time. But y'all definitely doing y'all thing, and y'all got the state on notice for sure. Anybody who doubted and wasn't a believer, they ain't got no choice to believe now.
Yeah. Exactly. But it's still a lot more work to go. Still a lot more season left. Still a lot more work to be done. But y'all keep balling, man. I'm definitely wishing Brother Rice good luck this season. Definitely good luck to you this season. Keep balling and keep going. And we're going to be definitely paying attention. We definitely going to be at that Mount Carmel game. So
For sure.
we'll be covering that one. But good luck next week and good luck for the rest of the season. Appreciate you for joining the platform.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Great talking with CJ. Kid, wishing, great things is going to happen for Brother Rice this season for sure. He talked a little bit about his development and everything, and I'm rooting for Brother Rice. I've called it. I called it last week. FA. I told you. I'm like, I start first. I knew Brother Rice was going to win that game against Loyola because I seen them play, more than Loyola. But I also just felt that it was their game to win. They were at home. They have a good offense. We talk about the defensive line presence all the time. I knew they was gonna win that game. What do you think about that matchup between Loyola and Brother Rice?
Man, it was a great statement victory for Brother Rice, I would say. And I know last week when we talked, I mentioned that is it likely for Loyola to come into Brother Rice's house, beat them as experienced as Brother Rice is with the talent that they have? It would have been extremely difficult, but I did choose Loyola to win just because it is still Loyola and they did play well. And I saw some flashes of like, okay, when they play St. Francis, all right, this is the Loyola that we're used to seeing. But as I will always say, is levels to everything. So me being able to really sit down and watch the Loyola and Brother Rice game, watching it multiple times. Like, I don't know if now is a good time to get into it, but I will go, well, first thing, Brother Rice's defensive line is phenomenal. I'll say that, right? But we don't take the time to give credit to the offense and the linebackers as well, and the secondary. I mean, Brother Rice is a complete team. And like I said, I watched the game multiple times over and over again. And offense, they have so many weapons. Jalen and Jovan Green, Lucas Strain, obviously CJ Gray, Darion Clinton, Jack McNamara. And Jack McNamara is a sophomore, and he just got he's a tight end sophomore. He just got an offer from Notre Dame yesterday. So just lets you know the talent that they have, the depth that they have, and they have young guys. Cam McGee. Also, he flashed this game. He dominated.
Oh,
he completely dominated. He's a 5-star.
I told you that was pretty much our full game highlights was pretty much a Cameron McGee highlight.
Yeah, so you have him, and then you still have King Liggins. You have Braden Parker. What is Park's name? You got and then the linebackers Sean McGannon. Is that am I pronouncing his name correctly?
I think.
McGann.
Yeah.
Linebacker Sean McGann, Charlie Barkmeyer.
This felt like right now. This felt like that Key and Peele skit.
Yeah,
substitute teacher trying to pronounce their last names.
Oh, these names is crazy.
Aaron, McQuillan.
Yeah,
I know what you're trying to say.
But they have a complete team and they have weapons all over the field. And as far as like talent on paper, like man, this is I mentioned earlier, it's kind of a generational team. Like it's one of those things that we're looking at in the moment, but I was able to step back and like you got 11 guys who are Division I potential. The same as Mount Carmel, which we'll get into a little bit later, is like it's not common for you to have, I don't care what school you are, it's not common to have 10, 11 guys who can play at the next level, who can be elite. So this Brother Rice team is crazy. Like, I don't know you want to get into the game, but yeah, Brother Rice is the real deal. And I will go as far as I told you, I will go as far as to say that they are the second to me, they're the second best team in the state behind Mount Carmel. Like I would
Over
go as
East
far
St.
as
Louis.
over East St. Louis and over Lincoln Way East. And I just take
That's a bold statement right there to
I
make.
take East St. Louis out of it because they're out of the way. They're not gonna play anybody over here. So it's just like it's to put them in the mix. It's like they're not playing anybody to show, and they won't play anybody. Even in the playoffs, they're not gonna play Mount Carmel. They're not gonna play Brother Rice. Not gonna play Loyola. Not gonna play Lincoln Way. So it's just we're never gonna see those matchups. So they're kind of just out of it. But in terms of the teams that are in their mix, I'm taking Brother Rice over Lincoln Way East. I'm gonna
But
say
they won't see them either.
yeah, they won't see them, but it's just as far as talent goes, yeah, bro. Like it's undeniable after watching that performance and the way that the defensive line dominated, the defense dominated, putting pressure on Matthew Lee. And I want to give tremendous credit to the defensive coordinator for Brother Rice because they gave so many different looks and they gave the young quarterback fits. I mean, they were in the odd front, they were in even fronts, they were blitz like the blitzes they were coming up with, just creating different ways of pressuring off the edge, sending safeties off the edge. And it was just so many different looks that was hard to be processed. You can tell, like the offense had no efficiency and they didn't score a touchdown. All of the points were off of field goals, 6 points. So that shows you how difficult it was for them. I know they got into the Wildcat a little bit. They shut that down. So it was just
Loyola
like
got into the Wildcat.
Loyola got into Wildcat a little bit, and they shut that down with Jordan putting there at Wildcat, and he looked phenomenal against St. Francis and out of that formation. He forced a low snap. They recovered it. They were on a 2-yard line. They going in to score. Loyola that was. They got into that Wildcat formation. Brother Rice's defense held up and pushed them back from 2 to the 17-yard line and forced them to kick a field goal. So they couldn't get 2 yards on Brother Rice out of the Wildcat formation with their star, players. So that just tells you everything that you need to know about BR. Like that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, I agree. This is BR's first win against Loyola in 7 years. The last time they beat Loyola, was that 7 years? Yeah,
Seven,
last
yeah,
time they
7 years.
2018. Yeah, so last time they beat Loyola was the 2018 season when they went undefeated in the regular season and met them in the regular season, beat them pretty badly, and then they met them again in the state championship and actually lost a close one. But they snapped that, was it 13 game losing streak?
Yeah,
Did I have
yep,
that right?
yep,
13 game losing
13.
streak.
Yep.
And Brother Rice is definitely rolling this season. They starting off 4-0. Also, the first time they started off 4-0 since the 2018 season as well. And one thing that you mentioned, FA, to CJ, is that this is looking every bit of reminiscing of that season when they went to the state championship and went undefeated in the regular season. Undefeated all the way up into the state championship, actually. So, yeah, Brother Rice is going to keep rolling for sure. Cameron McGee had a great game. Like I mentioned, it was it got to a point in that our full game highlight that it was a Cameron McGee highlight. It was a sack after a sack or a block pass or whatever. And it's what I've been saying the whole season about Brother Rice. Their defense is overwhelming. Their defense, I saw it firsthand. They overwhelmed Marist. I would assume that they overwhelmed St. Rita. It looks like they overwhelmed Loyola. So it was a close game at the half. It was only 7-6 at the half, and then they came back out the half, and Loyola didn't score. What, did Loyola score again?
No,
No, no.
they kicked a field goal right before half, and that was the last
Yep,
time they
they
scored.
scored. Yep. So they
Yep.
didn't even score a touchdown.
Nope. Two
Wow.
field goals.
Yeah. So that defense is crazy. Brother Rice's offense is crazy. And another thing I want to point out that CJ mentioned is that, you know, offense got a lot of chemistry with each other too. They've been playing each other since freshman year. They put in a lot of work in the offseason. I asked about CJ and his development. Put in a lot of work in the offseason. They got a very good strength and conditioning coach. Y'all see him on Instagram. He has a lot of following. And it seems like they're doing a lot of the right things over there to essentially, hopefully, win the state championship by the end of the season. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep following Brother Rice. The next big game, obviously, is that matchup. I mean, I don't want to skip too far here because it's 2 weeks from now. They do have a game next week. But the one that we're eyeing, really, is that matchup against Mount Carmel. I'm excited to see Brother Rice's defense match up against Mount Carmel's electric offense. So we'll get into that a little bit more later, but I want to continue down to the next game that we covered this week was Morgan Park versus Whitney Young. Morgan Park won that game 28-12. We'll break it down a little bit more, like as we're talking about it, but I felt the score probably should have been a little bit more lopsided, if you ask me. That's not knocking Whitney Young. It's more so a little jab at Morgan Park and the play, I guess. It was and I think the coaches would even say this. It was a sloppy win, in my honest opinion. And that's not me throwing shade at Morgan Park or anything. It's just what I'm calling a spade a spade. I'm calling it what I saw. That was a pretty sloppy win for Morgan Park. But at the end of the day, a win is a win. What do you think about that matchup between Morgan Park and Whitney Young?
Yeah, so this one kind of played out exactly how we called it. I know I mentioned a lot about Morgan Park's defense holding up, obviously, against Max Warner, and if Whitney Young would be able to adjust to the adjustment, I knew that they would have to find another way to attack Morgan Park because when you have one player, especially a running back, it kind of isolates him from the game. Like you have a whole defensive front that's keying on this one person, so just running the ball won't work, in which it didn't work, and they had a hard time finding any offense. Max eventually was able to get a score, get a touchdown, but I mean, it just wouldn't. I knew that it wouldn't be efficient enough to be able to win the game against Morgan Park. Now, on the other end of what we talked about, I said a key for Morgan Park is offensive efficiency. They didn't have great offensive efficiency. Whitney Young wasn't as good enough to make them feel the pressure of not having great offensive efficiency. And when you have so many athletes, which I mentioned, so many weapons out there, it's a little bit easier for you to find that room to make a big play. When you have a Nazir where you could just gotta throw it up guy, where you just need a quarterback to just throw the ball up and he gonna make a play. When you got one of those on your team, it make having offensive efficiency a little bit better because you got somebody you can rely on. But at the end of the day, they're nowhere where they want to be. They don't have an offensive identity. They're still going through quarterbacks. All quarterbacks making mistakes still, things that they don't want to see. We saw some miscommunication. We saw some bad reads. We saw some good things though. We saw flashes. So it's not that the potential isn't there. It's just, like I said, just bringing it together, and they just have to find their offensive identity. We saw Nazir taking some snaps at Wildcat, which I keep stating, which is a great move. You have a 5-star athlete that is faster than everybody on the field. Just put the ball in his hands, let him make a play. So I think that they just got to find their identity. And the perfect thing about Morgan Park is when it comes to the city is that they have time. But guess what? When those last 2 weeks of the season come around, those are going to be the toughest 2 weeks of the conference play because they got to play Simeon and Kenwood back to back. That's what's going to be difficult. But the great thing is that you have time. It's not like they play Simeon and Kenwood next week. They still got a couple of games to kind of figure out what they need to do offensively, and I think they'll be fine. But defensively, man, they got a defense that's going to help and hold up, but they got to have an offense to take some of that pressure off because it's only so long your defense can hold up without breaking. So I think overall it's a expected win, great win. It's expected, but it's a lot more work to be done for MP for sure.
Definitely. One thing I want to bring up is, to your point, I want to talk about Nas first. That kid is a crazy athlete. It got to a point in the game where he was getting a little frustrated on the sideline because he was like, just throw the ball up, just throw the ball up. I'm going to catch it. And then shortly after, threw the ball up, caught it on. It was like back-to-back plays in the full game highlight where one play, he just chucked the ball up to him, caught it, didn't score. He was called out of bounds, but then they threw another ball to him the following play, just threw it up like in the midst of traffic, caught it. Crazy. I think he got a 2-point conversion. No, it was a touchdown. They just threw the ball to him in traffic. You can see that on our Instagram reel that we posted. So I think that if they like you said, put the ball in his hands, they could probably find an identity there. It may have to be one of those situations. Last year, the biggest thing we talked about, Richards' offense success, a lot of it came from one player in particular. That's not a knock against Richards, but calling a spade a spade. A lot of that offensive success came from Miles Mitchell, from just simply putting the ball in his hands. He played running back, but they was just they a lot of touchdowns that we seen them score, especially against like Lamont, those late games victories. He was a wildcat, put the ball in his hand, scored a touchdown. He is a freak athlete, bro. It was a couple plays where if maybe a player makes a certain block, Nas probably would have broken free. You know what I mean? I think I saw a kick return he may have broken free, but one player just makes a good block. So I agree with you. Put the ball in. That's what they're gonna have to do. I mean, bringing it back to, and the reason why they're gonna have to do it, we're bringing it back to the quarterback play. I think Trenton started first. I think he threw an interception,
Yeah.
which gave Whitney Young, good field position. They didn't capitalize off of it. And then I think RJ came in. I don't know if it was RJ or the freshman quarterback that came in, turned the ball over. They put Trenton back in. And then I think even the freshman got some snaps as well. So it's like, it's clear as day in that game that they haven't figured out that quarterback position after having, a phenomenal quarterback in Marcus Stackson the last, 2 to 3 years. So it's like, they meet some of these CPL teams, and I'm just going to call it out. Kenwood has a very good quarterback. And they're not figuring out who their quarterback is. It's going to be a tough game. And if you ask me, if Kenwood played Whitney Young last year, right? If Kenwood is playing, does Kenwood play Whitney Young again this year? Probably not, right? Let me check.
Not sure.
Let me check it real quick, just because I want to fact check it to continue my point. But more of the story, what I'm getting at is that I think if Kenwood plays Whitney Young, that's a different scored game. I don't think Whitney Young scores a touchdown. I don't think Kenwood puts up 28 points. I think they put up more. That's the point I'm making. It was a win. A dub is a dub. But I thought that dub should have been way more lopsided than it was. 28-12, I don't think Whitney Young should have scored. If Morgan Park makes mistakes like that, those last 2 games of the season, you may face a team that may capitalize off those mistakes. And it may be a different outcome in that game. If Whitney Young capitalized on all those mistakes that Morgan Park made on the offensive end, we may be talking about this game a little differently. I won't flat out say that Whitney Young probably would have won that game, but it may have been a way closer game than what we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
But more of the story, and it's what we've been saying over the last few weeks, and it's not a jab, we're just calling it how we see it. And I think the coaches would probably say the same thing. They gotta get it together on the offensive end, specifically at that quarterback position. I'm gonna just call it out how it is. But that defense, let's talk about the positive. That defense looks great. Shout out Jareen, also Coach Reem. His birthday was also on Friday. Got a good victory on that end. He was even pissed a little bit that Whitney Young scored 12 points, but the defense played pretty good. But yeah, the defense was great. Once they clean up that play on offense, they're gonna be every bit of scary in the CPL, and they could, still make a good run in the playoffs for 5A.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We will see. Another game matchup that we were eyeing this week was between Fenwick and Montini Catholic. Fenwick was off to a good 3-0 start, but they fell short against Montini Catholic, 31-29. Montini Catholic, I believe, is in 4A this year, and they are the real deal. They are absolutely the real deal. How you feeling about that matchup between Montini Catholic and Fenwick?
Yeah, so I know that was one that we had a discussion about last week when we were looking at our rankings and just seeing how well Montini and Fenwick was playing. And I was saying, like, man, if Montini beats Fenwick, we're going to have to consider them for being a top 10 team, even though they're in 4A and they're probably not playing the best of the best competition. But them beating Fenwick, that's a statement right there. Like, forget the classes. They took down Fenwick. So this is a defending state championship team, and they're looking like they can compete with anybody at this point. So Israel Abrams is playing phenomenally. Like he's one of the top quarterback prospects in the state, class of 2027. And yeah, man, they rolling. So still undefeated, and they'll definitely be in the top 10 for sure. Where, we're not sure yet. We haven't discussed, but they for sure fit somewhere in there, especially after not knocking off Fenwick. So yeah, Montini's looking like they're on pace to repeat. We were talking a lot about three-peating and four-peating from some of the Catholic schools. Well, we're not talking about Montini, and then they're looking to go back to backs. Yeah, interested to see who does Montini play next? Let me see.
Let me look it up. But when you mentioned the top 10, you mentioned our top 10, and
Yeah,
I think
our
they have to
top
get
10.
in.
Oh,
They
of course,
definitely have to get in.
the only top 10 that matters. What other top 10 would I be talking about?
Absolutely, but let me look it up real quick to see who Montini Catholic plays next week. It looks like they will be playing Marmion.
Marmion Military
Marmion.
Academy. Man, people don't
Yep.
know about Marmion Military Academy. For all my football historians, TJ Lowley, Marmion Military. I'm gonna just leave it there. If you know, you know. TJ Lowley, man.
Yeah, Marmion has one loss this season against Oak Forest, 41-28. Oak Forest is also rolling, but we'll get to that later. But they had some pretty lopsided victories after that loss against North Lawndale, 55-0, St. Viator, 28-0, and they just beat De La Salle 48-14. But they will be facing a very tough opponent in Montini Catholic this week. But that'd be a good matchup, Montini Catholic versus Marmion, maybe. We'll
Yeah.
see. But Montini Catholic is the real deal.
Yeah, and then they'll be playing Carmel after that, and that's the game that I'm looking forward to because you got two stars on the field, man. Trey Taylor, Israel Abrams, the top two quarterbacks in the class of 2027. So that's definitely going to be a show, and it will be a test as well for Montini. But I can't keep saying that they've passed their test, beating Marist, beating Fenwick. So there's really nothing left for them to do this season until the playoffs come.
Yeah, it's crazy that although we're 4 weeks in, next week we'll be at the halfway point of the regular season.
Yeah, crazy.
Isn't that insane, bro?
Yeah, man.
Like I feel like last year when we were at the halfway point, I was like, how are we at the halfway point already? And look at it, just right again. We're about to be at the halfway point after next week. But this is the point in the season where it gets really serious. Like, the winless teams, they got to start showing up. The teams that are starting off undefeated, this is not the time to waver. This is not the time to, stop playing good. This is the time to actually put more pedal on the gas and take it beyond to keep battling and to carry that wave all the way into the state playoffs. But just want to move a little quicker. My bad, FA. Want to continue down some other games. Bishop McNamara, a team that is going crazy right now. They just beat Chicago Christian. Last year, a reigning state champion in Chicago Christian. They beat them 76-0. Bishop McNamara is having a turnaround year from last year. They went 4-5 last year to end the season. They are undefeated this season at 4-0. How we feeling about Bishop McNamara?
Man, people have been hitting us up all season about Bishop McNamara and how well they're doing. Man, it's somebody we got to shed light on them being in Kankakee. And I know I talked to you about Bradley, obviously being in that location. They don't really get a lot of coverage. But man, so just in their first 3 games before Chicago Christian, they won 58-0, 45-28, 52-6, and then Chicago Christian 75-0. So they are balling right now. And I know it's a lot of people saying ring them. I'm not sure what class is Bishop McNamara playing in.
I can pull it up
I
right
want
now.
to
So
maybe 3.
and I want to make it a disclaimer as well. So although the Associated Press does have teams in certain classes, it's still not finalized until the pairing show, unless a team had already petitioned to be in a specific class. But it looks like Bishop McNamara is going to be in 3A according to the Associated Press's Class 3A rankings. They're currently sitting at number 9 from last week. This is not the updated rankings. I reckon they will probably go up a lot, but they looking to be in 3A this year. So they're looking to be in the same class as Immaculate Conception, which is currently sitting at number 2. Immaculate Conception just lost to Nazareth in a close one. So
yeah,
yeah,
man. Hey, they balling. I mean, haven't had a winning season since 21-22 season, which is also the last time that they made the playoffs. And they went 7-5 that year, and they made a quarterfinals appearance, losing to Wilmington, which they went on to win the state finals that year. So I mean, it's been a while for them, but they're making that turnaround and already being 4-0, and they were 4-5 last year. You're already tying your wins from last year, so obviously they're gonna have a much better season than they did last year. But that's all it takes, man. It just takes 1 year, some changes, some players to come in, and it's a complete turnaround. So yeah, man, Bishop McNamara, keep balling, keep going, man.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to bring up because we're talking about a team from Bishop McNamara. A thing that hey, did you? I don't know if you just brought this up or just mentioned it, but Bradley Bourbonnais, a lot of kids from Bradley Bourbonnais transferred to Bishop McNamara this year.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I heard a couple guys transfer from
Uh-huh.
Bradley to
Not a
Bishop.
lot, sorry, a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
guys. Yeah,
yeah. A few guys transferred there, so that that probably has a lot to do with the success or the turnaround, and that's just what it is, man. You may just be missing a few pieces. You may be missing a few positions that you need filled, and it kind of turns everything around. So. And Bishop McNamara, I really haven't over my time of covering football, playing and coaching, really haven't heard too much about Bishop McNamara. And they're obviously a Catholic school in Kankakee. Haven't really heard too much of them. So I mean, good for them to be making noise and just learning about a new program.
yeah, absolutely. Just to segue into Bradley Bourbonnais. Sorry, I'm trying to move fast because I know we spent a lot of time on topics earlier, but Bradley Bourbonnais still undefeated, off to a 4-0 start. They just played a team from out of the state, right? St.
Yeah,
Mary's Southside. What state from?
Dragons. Yeah, they're from St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah,
Okay,
so the
got
St.
a
Mary's Southside Dragons.
St. Mary's Southside Dragons. They won that game 35-22 to start off 4-0. How are we feeling about Bradley Bourbonnais? Crazy thing is, Bradley Bourbonnais in 2 weeks is going to be playing Lincoln Way Central. We got a lot of good games coming up in 2 weeks. I don't want to skip past next week, but we got a lot of good games coming up 2 weeks. Lincoln Way Central versus Bradley Bourbonnais, that'll be a good one, as well as Montgomery versus Brother Rice. But going back to Bradley Bourbonnais, how are we feeling about that team?
Still rolling, and I think I spoke to you a little bit about if they should be in the top 10 now because still undefeated and still dominating. And I think that if they can beat Lincoln Way West and Central, I think they got a strong case. They got a strong case because Lincoln Way West is undefeated still. I don't think Lincoln Way Central is undefeated, but
I
those are
think I think they just played. Wait, hold on. They just played each other, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
so. Yeah,
Lincoln
yeah.
Way West actually just beat Lincoln Way Central,
Okay, yeah.
12-17.
Yep. So I'm sure Bradley's gonna move up in 7A rankings for the associated ranking. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they can pull off those two wins. Obviously, beating Lincoln Way Central that beat them in the quarterfinals last year. That's a game that I'm sure they've been wanting to get back. And then Lincoln Way West, that's going to be a tough one as well. So they got their test is coming. They've been playing well and beating the teams that they're supposed to beat, but the test for them is coming. So we'll see how they fare those two games, and we'll have something to talk about. But still
Yeah.
rolling, man. Love it.
Yeah, let me just talk about that real quick. So if we're following the Associated Press's Class 7A rankings right now, this past week, Lincoln Way Central was ranked at 6, Bradley Bourbonnais is ranked at 8, and then Lincoln Way West is ranked at 9. I suspect Lincoln Way West would probably jump Bradley Bourbonnais because they just beat Lincoln Way Central, who was more high ranked than Bradley Bourbonnais. So maybe Lincoln Way West will probably be somewhere within that top 5, top 6. I think Normal Community just lost to Kankakee, so I suspect Normal Community would probably go down. Downers Grove North just lost to Glenbard West, so I suspect Downers Grove North will go down probably a lot too. So we may be seeing Lincoln Way West break the top 5, as well as Bradley Bourbonnais breaking the top 5 in Class 5A rankings this week when the Associated Press rankings get released. But like we mentioned, if they're able to beat Lincoln Way Central and Lincoln Way West, oh yeah, best believe Bradley Bourbonnais will be, a force to be reckoned with come playoffs in Class 7A. But a lot more season left to go. They still have Stag, it looks like, next week. So, no, I'm sorry. No, they do have Stag next week, if I'm looking at that correctly. Sorry, I have multiple schedules pulled up. But it looks like they have Stag next week at 7:30, and then they'll play Lincoln Way Central the week after that. Then they have DeKalb, and then they will be playing Lincoln Way West week 8, and then they'll finish their season off with Andrew. So they got some tough matchups coming over the next few weeks. Conference matchups coming over the next few weeks. But, Bradley Bourbonnais is rolling, and I suspect that they will continue to roll and have great games over the next coming weeks. Joliet Catholic, another game I want to transition to now. Joliet Catholic gets their first win over Marist in a crazy fashion, by the way. They beat Marist 23-17. Marist is still winless. Joliet Catholic gets their first win. How are we feeling about Joliet Catholic? Can they make a run to still make the playoffs?
Hey, anything is possible. They just got to win out. I think that's the biggest thing is just winning out and continuing to play hard. They could have given up, on the season, having a slow start. But as we know, Nazareth has had multiple seasons where they lost consecutive games to open the season and still was able to make it to the state championship. So I never count a team out. As long as you have games to play, you play hard and you win, and you let the cards fall how they may. And if you get in, then it's 0-0. You get in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. Now it's time to win out from there on. So yeah, I mean, a key fight and stay in the fight, Joliet Catholic. But that's a good start getting that W.
Yeah, and speaking of them fighting, as I mentioned, that victory, it looks like they were attempting an 18-yard field goal with 1.1 seconds left in the game against Marist. The snap was low, and Lucas Simulik picked it up and called fire and hit Declan Wagner for a 1-yard touchdown pass to give them the win over that. So that's that is a crazy way to win it. It seems like a few times when we're watching Joliet Catholic, they're in these most craziest end of game scenarios to try to win a game. Like the first time I saw them play in person was against Nazareth in the state championship last year, and they could have won that game late, but they missed a 2-point conversion to tie the game up against Nazareth. But yeah, they get their first win of the season against Marist in crazy fashion, but a win is a win. You'll take it in any way possible. And they are currently still ranked in the Class 6A rankings, even though they were winless. So I suspect they'll still be ranked in there, and they still got a chance as long as they, continue to win out throughout the season. I don't think they can lose again, in my honest opinion, in
No,
order if they want to have a chance to make the playoffs. Real quick, let me look at their remaining schedule to see who they will be playing up the next coming weeks. 1 second. Looks like their next matchup next week will be against. Oh my gosh, bro. Joliet Catholic does not have it easy. Bro, this is like, you want me to tell you who they play? They got Nazareth, the team that they met in the state championship last year. Then they have Niles Notre Dame the following week. Then they have Mount Carmel. Then they have De La Salle. Then they have Providence Catholic. They don't have an easy. They don't have. What is up with their schedule this year? They don't have an easy schedule this year at all. And they already played some tough opponents in, Lyons Township, Glenbard West, Fenwick, Marist even. Now they have to play Nazareth Academy. They still have to play Mount Carmel, and they still have to play Providence Catholic. This is a tough road ahead for them. But if
it
they can
definitely
get through
is.
all of this, they may be making a run in the 6A
We'll
playoffs. But
see.
we'll see.
We'll see.
A
It's
lot
gonna
of
start
season
with
left.
knocking off Nas for
Yeah,
sure, and
100%.
yeah, we'll
But
see.
they
One
got some
game at a
tough
time.
opponents. One game at a time for sure. One game at a time. One player at a time. So, but yeah, Joliet Catholic. We will see. Speaking of Nazareth Academy just survived Immaculate Conception, 24-21 on a game-winning field goal. Great game. Nazareth, bounces back from that loss against Mount Carmel, to win a close one against Immaculate Conception. But IC deserves some clout right now as well. They starting off the year 3-1, and they could have not easily, but they could have, won this game. If some things go their way. How are we feeling about those two teams in this matchup?
Yeah, Nas, just they're still on their road to four-peating Nas could four-peat, right? Or is
Yeah,
this three
four P. I
four-peat?
think I had it up. Yeah, I think it was 4 P then
Yeah,
because they 3 P
four-peat.
last year. Yeah,
Yeah, so Nas on their road to four-peating. So they just got to continue to keep on playing, learning more about ICCP and what they've been doing. And last year being 4-5, and this year being 3-1. So it's looking like a season where they're going to be able to turn things around. A close one with Nas, I believe last year they got blown out by Nas. So that's a good sign that contender, a defending state champ, you take them to the wire, they have to beat you with a field goal. That's a good sign. So they'll be playing Marist next, which Marist is off to a rough start. Still looking to get that first win of the season. So we'll see how they stack up against Immaculate Conception. But hey, yeah, a great Catholic League football. Any team can be beaten, and that's the thing. How you talk about in the Catholic League, all of these teams play, and anybody could be knocked off.
100%. And that's why big reason why Catholic League teams have success in the playoffs, because they beat up on each other during the regular season. So it's like one thing we talk about all the time is being battle tested. Joliet Catholic is about to be battle tested over these next. They already been battle tested. They're about to
Yeah,
continue to be battle tested throughout the season. But the thing, Catholic League, they play each other, and they're all have top talent in the state, but they're also top teams in the state, and that's the real reason why they perform well when it comes to state playoffs. A lot of them don't have to see each other in the state playoffs.
right.
Obviously,
That's true.
JCA and Nazareth have played each other in the state championship, more than once, but that's a big reason why they all, have success in the playoffs because they beat up on each other throughout the regular season. IC, what you said they play Marist next week? Yep. So I mean, Marist is looking to get their first win, and IC is looking to, continue to bounce back, with a win against Marist. So we will see how that would play out, but definitely we'll be keeping an eye on that matchup next week. So, main one I want to talk about because we talked about this last week, and you called it actually. Glenbard West versus DGN. Glenbard West is for real. I said I didn't believe DGN because of how they played against Morgan Park. This is DGN's first loss of the season, so I don't want to discredit them too much. But Glenbard West is for real, and they're gonna be in 8A this year. And that offense is every bit of electric. It was 28-0 at the start of the second quarter.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
how are we feeling about that
it
matchup?
got out of hand really quick, and just the reason why I kind of predicted that it would be a blowout is just because, like you said, the way that we saw them play Morgan Park, and I was just like saying that this isn't enough offensive explosion from seeing Glenbard West play JC, and I'm like, Glenbard West is explosive. And it can happen in a blink of an eye. Like they have playmakers all over the field. And so just seeing how slow DGN play really, really slow against Morgan Park. And I didn't see any big play capabilities. But another thing to consider in this loss is that Owen didn't play. The starting quarterback didn't play. Minnesota commit. He was out for DGN. So that has a
Okay.
lot to do with DGN's offense, but it has nothing to do with DGN's defense. And Glenbard West was still able, to put up a lot of points, which I expected them to do. So yeah, man. I mean, Glenbard West is rolling, and who do they have next?
Glenbard West, let me check real quick. They have to play Lyons Township.
And Lyons
So
Township
Lions,
just took a loss to Hinsdale this past week. So interesting. I mean, things get interesting, because I mean it's one loss. So I mean it could just be anything could have happened. Like it's just a bad day. That doesn't mean Glenbard West just goes and plays Lions and they just blow them out. I mean Lions could easily, beat Glenbard West. That's a team that's capable of beating Glenbard West. So things can really get shaky in the next week or two. But I love the way Glenbard West is playing, and I would say Glenbard West is probably going to win that game as well against Lions, just because of their offensive explosion, and defensively they have athletes that could take the ball away from you, take possessions away. So yeah,
and their starting quarterback is back.
yep. So even
And
better.
their backup and their backup quarterback is not bad either. So
Nope.
it's like
So
it don't matter which quarterback is playing. To be honest,
yep.
their starting quarterback is back. Yeah, I got Glenbard West in that game as well. Any last thoughts for the IHSA football season before we transition it over a little bit to college?
Oh man, it was a great week. A lot happened. Can't wait to get to the rankings at some point. And yeah, man, I'm
Yeah, I'm
excited for
definitely
next week.
excited. These matchups, I think Kenwood, Simeon
Yep.
play this next week.
Yep. Next week.
Yep. So that'll be a game we'll be eyeing. Um, Sorry we didn't get into more matchups for next week, but the season is starting to shape out, and a picture starting to be painted based on how the playoffs is going to look. So keep on balling, keep rolling for the teams that's still undefeated. Keep putting the foot on the gas pedal. The season is not done. And for the teams that got their first wins, keep balling, keep going. Teams that are winless, keep still a lot more season left. Nazareth Academy, I just looked it up. They started off with 4 losses to start their season, and they ended up getting hot and taking it all the way to a state championship. So to start off their three-peat. So keep going. A lot season left. Don't think it's over yet. And yeah, what we want to get into now, heartbreaking to bring this up. I'm even sad to bring this up. The Fighting Illini got spanked yesterday against Indiana, 63-10. Indiana made our Fighting Illini look like a FCS team. That is crazy. This was Indiana's. This is most points scored by a Big Ten team against an Associated Press top 10 opponent, I think, ever. And this is also Indiana's first time going 4-0 to start the season in back-to-back seasons, in consecutive seasons, I'm sorry, since 1985. This, how are we feeling about this, bro? Because it seemed like after that blocked punt, it started off pretty bad, but then he answered, and then it just got bad from there.
So for me, I like watching the game. All right, so the special teams block punt was one thing. You give that up, fine. And I thought we was cool because we responded right back. Luke Altmaier touchdown pass. Okay, we're in good position. This is where the game was on the line for me. The game was decided very early on for me. Indiana had a 4th and 1. They were gonna punt. I think they was considering punting. In my mind, you're at home playing a number 1 team in the country. Do not punt this fucking ball.
Not number 1 team, number
19, number 19 in the country. Don't punt the ball. This is going to determine the momentum and the impact of the game going forward. You punt the ball back to them, give the momentum back to Illinois with the possibility of scoring, or you convert on 4th and 1. And for me, my thinking is if you can't get 1 yard when you need it, you don't deserve to win the game. They convert the 4th and 1, don't punt, score a touchdown. The game was decided right there. That's when I knew, like, Indiana, they not coming to fuck around. They not getting, like, they're coming to win this game. And that's where it kind of was from that point on. Indiana's defensive line was super disruptive, sacking Luke 7 times in this game. He just couldn't get any type of flow going. And then obviously in the second quarter, the targeting penalty kind of destroyed everything, you know what I mean? But does that change the outcome of the game? I can't necessarily say that, because it's just one player, but they do lose their green dot, a key communicator on the defense, and then they give up a touchdown right after that. So you lose Miles Scott to a targeting call. They're already dealing with injuries, guys. They're up to their second and third string guys in certain positions. So is it an ideal situation to be in? No. But man, they really just controlled the whole game. They controlled the whole game. Illinois only rushed for 2 yards. You're never going to be able to win a game like that. Rushing for 2 yards in a whole game, that shows you how disruptive the defense was. And then on the other side of it, U of I couldn't get any pressure, to the offense, to the Indiana offense. The quarterback Mendoza, he was back there like it was practice. He was damn near perfect in this game. He threw 21 for 23, 267 yards, 5 touchdowns. He threw 5 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. And not only that, 3 different running backs scored for IU. So everybody was eating. It was free. It was free out there. So it's just like they just completely dominated Illinois. And the best word is demoralizing. Like, this was a demoralizing loss for them. Like, you can tell there was no confidence. There was no belief. There was no faith. Heads were hanging. You saw Coach Brad Bielema, hands on his knees, bent over. Like, he couldn't take what he was looking at. Like, he was just, it was a tough night for Illinois. Now, they do get the chance to redeem themselves, though. You know what I mean?
They play USC next week for their homecoming. They play Purdue the week after that, and they play number 1 team in the nation, Ohio State. They got it's I don't know whether to call it a good thing or a bad thing, but they are in the Big Ten, and they have a chance to prove themselves to say that was a fluke last week. We're actually a really good team, right? But after, like you said, that demoralizing loss, are they even still ranked in the top 25? Because it's not like they just lost a close one, right? They got whooped 63-10. As I mentioned before, like, that was the first time a Big Ten team, that was the most points that a Big Ten team beat a top 10 AP opponent. Like, that was the most points scored by, like, are they still ranked?
I don't see them being kicked out. I mean, it's a chance. I'm sure people are gonna vote for them to be out of the top 25, but I mean, I could see them being low. I mean, 20 to 25, anywhere between that range at the bottom. USC just beat Michigan State. I believe they were 25, so they may go up to around 23, 24. They may move up a couple slots, who knows? But I can definitely see U of I at 25 now. Just like, all right, we're going to give y'all another chance. Because to go from 9 to out is a big
It's
jump.
crazy. It's crazy
So
because I remember Notre Dame lost to NIU last year and they weren't out, but NIU did get in. So it's just that 63-10 loss. That's like I said, Indiana made Illinois look like an FCS team. Made them look
yeah,
like an FCS team.
yeah,
Like
pretty much.
63-10. I think there were other teams that played like Texas played another team, they didn't beat them by that much. Oregon played another team that was, not a good team. They didn't lose by that much. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this looked
No, I mean
bad, bro.
you can't get 63 points hung on you and you're the ninth ranked team in the country.
No, you
Like
can't.
that's a lot, man. That's like they playing the first week and they pay somebody to come to Indiana and play them and they just need a tune up game. That's what it looked like. You know what I mean? So yeah, but the thing is, they have a lot of season to play. Like
Yeah,
that's
that
what it
is
is at
true.
the end of the day. So I mean, yeah, it was a terrible loss. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of season to play and a lot, two other opportunities against ranked opponents to show that they should at least be ranked.
100%, 100%. But a lot more season left. We don't gotta harp on our final line getting killed by a lot. But yeah, man. Football's in full swing. Bears gonna be watching that after this. They're gonna be playing the Dallas Cowboys at home. Hey man, let's hope to get some positive out of this weekend from our our Illinois teams, or Chicago teams, Illinois teams, whatever. But I'll be watching the Bears after this. Any last thoughts before we close this out?
Oh man, just ready to get to that BR Mark Carmel game, man. Oh, that's
Yeah,
what I'm looking
100%,
forward to. We talk
100%.
about that, but yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, this is the offseason podcast, episode 37. All the teams, whether college, NFL, high school, keep balling, keep going. Lot of season left, and we'll be covering it all. But this is the off-season podcast, episode 37, and we are out.